Hello YouTube and welcome to another dash cam drive through a town in South Carolina today. We are visiting the town of Cheraw, South Carolina in Chesterfield County. Cheraw has a population just under 5,000 and is a very historic town in the Revolutionary War era days, and I also believe Civil War history too, but we'll find that out together. So we dive into the history of Cheraw a little bit in just a moment. This is going to be a longer dash cam drive through because Cheraw, the way it was laid out, it was just easy to kind of drive through and see more. Not really guessing of where you need to go to see something. It's all right there in front of you. Dizzy Gillespie, I assume that's how you say the last name. I've heard of him for sure, but I don't know if I ever learned if that was the proper pronunciation or not. He is from here. His birthplace is here. I didn't go and find that just because of time constraints, other things planned for the day. But that is something you can do. We are going to go ride through downtown and see some of the historic sites there. None of them are specifically pointed out though. So what I'd recommend to you would be to go to Cheraw.com, which is the town website for Cheraw, and open up their cell phone tour. It says, the Cheraw Historic Cell Phone Tour is a great way to get acquainted with our town's beautiful history. Whether you are a new resident or just looking for a pleasant walk, the cell phone tour is free and available anytime. Check out the first two stops of the cell phone tour in the drop menu below. Brochures for the full tour are available in the box outside of Town Hall. Oh, well, see, when I first, I thought maybe go on your phone and kind of see about the town, like from your phone, kind of like how Google Maps sometimes has, or Apple Maps, whatever, has those 3D city tours. I thought maybe that's what they had, but they don't. But I still might drop that in the description below, not quite sure. Alright, so let's also go back to Cheraw.com. And let's see. I'm going to click on the next link. I'm going to click on there. It's nearby towns. I just want to see who's there. Chesterfield, Society Hill, Bennettsville, Hamlet, North Carolina, Wadesboro, North Carolina, Darlington, Hartsville, Camden, Southern Pines, Pinehurst, North Carolina. I'm surprised Myrtle Beach didn't make it there. That's what I figured was going to happen. They probably don't want you to go to Myrtle Beach because if they know that you go to the beach, you're probably not going to stop in Cheraw, unfortunately. Or Charleston, Columbia, or Florence. So annual events and festivals in Cheraw, according to their website, are the Sandblast Rally, Spring Festival, happened every year since 1975, South Carolina Jazz Festival, the Lantern Parade, a new event started in 2019. The annual Lantern Parade is an effort to bring the town together at the start of the holidays based on the English tradition of the Big Switch On. Join us in downtown on the first Friday of each December and watch as community gathers for a festival of lights. Watch as a procession of paper lanterns make their way up Market Street to Centennial Park. The parade ends with a traditional countdown to light the town Christmas tree, followed by an outdoor movie, caroling, pictures with Santa, and a festive atmosphere in our beautiful downtown make this one of the town's most unique events. Yeah, that seems pretty cool. We have Christmas Fest as well. Alright. What else can we find out on the Cheraw website? Let's go to town history. And we got plenty of time, so I'll just read it verbatim. It says, the Cheraw and Pee Indians inhabited what is now Chesterfield County at the time of European settlement of Siouan stock. The Cheraws were the dominant tribe in the upper Pee. The Cheraws migrated to this area in the late 17th century and maintained a well-fortified village on the river close to present-day Cheraw. Wars and disease greatly decimated the population. After a time, in around 1738, they joined the Catawba Confederacy. They left only their names and well-established trading routes. By the time of the Revolution, only a few scattered families of Native Americans remained in the area. Most of Cheraw's early European settlers were English, Scots, French, or Irish. Two of the earliest of these were James Gillespie and Thomas Ellerby, who started a trading center and watermill at the Cheraw Hills around 1740. Welsh Baptists later made their way upriver from the Society Hill area. Almost from the beginning, African Americans were brought here as slaves. By 1750, Cheraw was one of 6 places in South Carolina appearing on English maps and was an established village with a growing river trade. Joseph and Eli Kershaw, who also had business interests in Camden, were granted part of the present town of Cheraw around 1768. Around the same time, the colonial government established St. David's Parish, with the parish church to be located at Cheraw. The Kershaws formally laid out the street system with broad streets and a town green. By 1830, the streets were lined with triple rows of elm trees. Some of the median trees remained, particularly on 3rd Street, but many were removed at the turn of the century to put in water lines. We will pass some of those. By the way, let's see how we're doing on time. Oh yeah, we got time to read it all. The Kershaws called the town Chatham, after William Pitt of Earl Chatham. This never seemed to have wide acceptance, and Cheraw or Cheraw Hill continued to be used interchangeably with Chatham. Cheraw has been the official name since the town's incorporation in 1820. During the Revolution, Cheraw was the center of a terrible civil war. The town was held at various times by both the British and the American partisans, and St. David's Church was used by both armies as a hospital. In January of 1781, General Greene's Continentals, being Nathaniel Greene, had a camp of repose just across the river after the war. The devastation here was so great that it took many years for the area to recover. Cheraw was the head of navigable waters on the Great PD, and yes, there is a little PD as well. That's why I used the word great. And was thus the shipping center for a wide area. Corn, tobacco, rice, and indigo were grown in the more fertile surrounding lands, and cattle raising, with the related tanning and curing industries, was a major source of income. Prior to the Confederate War, both the largest cotton market between Georgetown and Wilmington and the largest bank in South Carolina outside of Charleston were located here. First bridge across the PD and the advent of steamship service to Cheraw in the 1820s led to a golden age, and numerous buildings from this period still grace Cheraw's streets. A serious fire destroyed most of the business district in 1835, but by the end of the 1850s, Cheraw was a prosperous, secure town which served a regional center of business, education, culture, and religion. Citizens of Cheraw played a leading role in South Carolina's secession in 1860. As the Confederacy collapsed, the town became a haven for refugees and storage place for valuables and military stores. During the American Civil War in March of 1865, General Sherman occupied the town for several days before crossing the Petey River. They found Cheraw a pleasant town and an old one with the southern aristocratic bearing. Using the delay of crossing the Petey River, Sherman used his time in Cheraw to reorganize his army, sparing the town from any significant damage. Very interesting. Although the business district was destroyed in an accidental explosion, no public buildings or dwellings were burned. However, the county courthouse in Chesterfield was burned, and exact dates of many Cheraw buildings are unknown. Last paragraph. Prosperity began to return by 1900. Remember, the Civil War in 1865 says 45 years of no prosperity. And many fine Victorian and Revival buildings are still in evidence here. Although the Great Depression hit this area hard, it did leave the wrongful legacy of Cheraw State, the wonderful legacy, not wrongful, legacy of Cheraw State Park and extensive other public lands. Cheraw in the 1960s began to diversify her industrial base, referred to Cheraw as her. And today, Cheraw is a prosperous town that takes pride in preserving her past while planning for the future. So, that is what the town of Cheraw says about itself. And now, I'm going to stop talking for a moment, and we will just ride the streets of Cheraw in silence. Definitely a residential area here. And that's some of the medians they were talking about. I will link the website definitely into the description after I read all that. Mailman working on a Saturday in the rain. Not so fun. Alright, we're leaving the residential area, headed back towards some businesses, but we're also quickly going to motor out of town towards Society Hill, where it was no longer raining, and it was actually, I believe, sunny, if I remember right. It's already on YouTube. You have to check it out to see. And while you're checking it out, feel free to subscribe. Also, I wouldn't mind a comment or two telling me what you thought of Cheraw. This is US 1. It goes from Maine to Key West. And, but more importantly, or more noteworthy, right through Cheraw, South Carolina. There's an IGA, add that to the tally. No pig. Some sort of industry there. There used to be a Carolina beverage company. It may still be here, but they used to make Cheraw up until like COVID hit. Cheraw being a unflavored like Hawaiian punch. I mean, not unflavored, uncarbonated like Hawaiian punch type deal. Only place in America that still made it. It was interesting. But yeah, that was, or this is, and that was basically a lot of Cheraw, South Carolina. Of course, you could find more, but you would have to visit yourself to do that because this dash cam drive through is now over. Chesterfield will be next.